Hello, I'm Claire Robertson, and welcome to After LUTV News, where we will discuss interesting topics in news and pop culture with our panel of University Press and LUTV news reporters. According to the Center for Disease Control, rates of suicide have increased 51% over the last 10 years in the 15 to 24-year-old age demographic. This cause has been related to rising levels of anxiety and depression. Some media outlets claim there is a mental health crisis at colleges and universities. An article from Higher Education Today states school counselors are seeing more students with mental health related issues. So panel, are high schools and colleges properly educating and assisting students with mental health? Also, what are the stigmas surrounding mental health, and can they be changed?
I would honestly say that it's not taught very well, because it's still something that a lot of college students, even people that are not in college, have to deal with, because it's like a way of life. Like, you can't really just be like, oh, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, when in reality all they're teaching you is about math, science, English, all of that, but not teaching you like, hey, how to cope with stress and anxiety if you're like in college, or if you're like a first gen student, or how to just handle the stress and anxiety if you're in the workforce.
I feel like the schools, high school and colleges, they don't do enough to assist students with mental health, because since I've been here, I've only seen I think one pep talk, like how to deal with depression type of thing. I feel like they should do more. A lot of people don't want to talk about being depressed, but I feel like if they know that they're not alone, that it's more easier for them to talk about it. So I feel like schools kind of need to do more like group sessions and just help out in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know they do counseling and stuff like that, and so you could go see a counselor and talk about the issues, but sometimes talking can only go so far. Mm-hmm. And then as well as you're talking to a person who may or may not have dealt with the same thing you're going through, but you can never really tell. So I think the group session that you mentioned would actually be better, because you're talking to people who can relate. Yeah, who can relate and go through it. Because if you're just talking to a psychiatrist, you're talking to someone who had a degree, who learned from a book, who never experienced that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like they actually care.
When you're recommending group therapy sessions, what would that look like? Would that be offered as a service on campus, or is that you with your social group? What would that be?
I feel like it would be on campus.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of college students are going through depression and anxiety, and it's not something that people are proud to say, like, hey, look, I'm depressed. Like, no, people are like they're scared to be judged, so they don't come out and say that they're coping with it. But I feel like on campus it would help a lot.
And that's part of what we want to talk about today. What are the stigmas surrounding mental health, and how can they be changed? I mean, personally, I think that today the stigmas are far less severe than they were when our parents were going to school. Mm-hmm. But do we think that there still are some misconceptions about people who struggle with mental health?
Absolutely.
And what does that look like? I
would say for specifically minority groups.
Okay.
I mean, it's already coming from a person coming from a minority myself. It's just the simple fact that we were raised to assume that having a mental illness or talking about what's wrong with us mentally means we're crazy or we're weak, when in actuality it's really not. It's just the simple fact that I know there's something wrong with me, say for instance, I know there's something wrong with me and I want to fix that. And the fact that sometimes people like me, or people, just not even minorities in general, but people just be afraid to speak out because they don't know how people are going to react to it.
Right.
They say, oh, you're crazy, you'll be all right, blah, 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 blah.
And I would challenge that idea that it's a minority-only problem. Speaking as a white person, I know that we still have those fears of opening up maybe to our parents or older generations, but I thought it was interesting that the Pew Research Center reported that mental health issues pretty equally affect teens at different socioeconomic levels, which is not what I expected. I thought maybe students coming from more stable households, more stable financial households, or students who had more of an expectation to go to college after high school would be dealing less with anxiety and depression, and that doesn't seem to be the case.
I feel like depression can reach anyone. It doesn't matter your social class or like what you were saying. You would think that kids that come from, what did you say?
Different socioeconomic levels.
Yeah, that they wouldn't, it just can affect anyone. And a lot of people just, like you said, they don't talk about it because people say you're crazy or something's wrong with her. But depression is not something about being crazy. It's just something that different people deal with. Like there's good days for me. There's good days for me and then there's bad days for me. Those bad days, the way I cope with depression is I try to stay busy.
Okay.
Anytime I have downtime, I give my mind too much time to start thinking. And I just try not to go to that dark place. So the way I cope with it is doing outdoor activities, spending time with family, and just staying busy.
I would say that's a good way to cope with a lot of things, but it also comes into play for people that have anxiety issues. That's also mental illness. Doing so many things at once, they won't know how to stop when it's a time to stop.
Well, I'm a multitasker, so I kind of like the rush.
I understand that. And like coming from a person that deals with anxiety, it's like so much like I want to keep doing this, I want to keep doing that, so I don't think about it. And then when it's time for me to like, go to sleep or just rest, my mind keeps racing and it's just like, I don't know how to stop.
Yeah.
So. I do want to discuss what we think these causes might be for the rise in suicide rates, for example. The American Psychological Association said that some of the causes for this age demographic is harassment and assault, political instability, student debt, and concern about future careers. Can we relate to any of that?
Yes.
Okay.
I know I can relate to the student debt part because this semester my tuition wasn't 100% paid off like it normally is, so that put a lot of stress on me. And then my mom as well, coming from a single parent household, she had to find $2,000 from God knows where just to pay the school so I can register for classes next semester. So that put a lot of stress on me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Makai with the student debt and the fact that being uncertain about how life is going to be after college. What am I going to get the job that I want? Am I even going to be able to be on my own like I say I want to be? Like it's just many different uncertainties. And then with money, like, debt's going to always be there. So it's just the simple fact that, am I going to be able to pay off this debt or anything of that sort? So a lot of finances be coming into play when it comes to that.
I think students in college are really concerned about what comes after because the group of students in college right now are on the cusp between millennials and Generation Z, and we see older millennials who has been studied and confirmed that they are more educated and earning less than the generations before them. And so it's like, what kind of hope do we have?
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for having this conversation. Thank you, panel. And thank you for turning into After LUTV News. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for more LUTV content. See you next time.